I just spent 82 days in Morocco. Well, hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan McNally, and for the last 2 years I've been working remotely as a designer. So you could call me a digital nomad, I would say. So I spent over a year in Europe, and then my latest journey to Morocco, where I spent 82 days there. And to start off, getting to Morocco. This was like a journey in itself. So I was staying with some friends in Munich. I left some luggage there because I knew going to Morocco was best to travel lightly. So I picked up a backpack, so I'd have 2 backpacks going to Morocco. So at this time I was doing it very budget, as I spent all my money on travel, because just why not do it? So I was flying out of this randomest airport in Germany, Dusseldorf Wies it's called. So it's like an hour outside Dusseldorf. Super random airport, but they had a flight, I think it was for like 50 euros from there to Morocco. So I was like, let's do that. It's there. I had to go through Cologne, then Dusseldorf Wies. I think it's just Wies. Not too sure if I pronounced that right. Since I was going to Dusseldorf Wies and I haven't been to Cologne, I was like, it's perfect opportunity to go to Cologne. So I had a train that left at 3 a.m. in the morning. So during that night I had a few beers with my friends, and then without any sleep, took the journey to Cologne. I didn't have many jackets on me either, so it was freezing. It was snowing during this time in Munich as well. So it was a very cold journey to start off with. But I ended up getting to Cologne at like 5 a.m, got to Cologne. From Cologne went to Dusseldorf, and then Dusseldorf to Wies. And then finally flew out of Dusseldorf Wies to Morocco. And as we said earlier, we went to Tangier first. So we first arrived to Tangier, and it was a great experience to start off with. I had a really good Airbnb owner who picked me up from the airport, took me back to the Airbnb. Super helpful. Everything I could need was awesome. And I was lucky enough to stay in the Casbah in Tangier, which was just this like big neighborhood full of like white buildings. But coming into Morocco, I had no idea about too much about Morocco, especially the history as well, which I kind of like that as well, not doing a little bit of research but not doing too much, because I do like the initial surprise, what it's going to be like, and just adapting to the new climate. But after being there for a while, like there's a lot of influence, especially from Europe within Tangier, especially because it's so close to Spain. You could almost call it like a Spanish town, especially the way it looks as well, and the feeling you get there almost. And then of course you got the French influence, so you got French, Spanish there, but beside that it's very much still Morocco, and it's still something very fresh and new. So during my 3 weeks I didn't have too much of a plan in Tangier. It was mainly just focus on work, see where it would take me, and just live my life in Tangier. So during my time in Tangier, I got to experience the Moroccan culture for like the first time, which was still, it took me some time to adjust, which it does for most places, but I was in Tangier for 3 weeks, so I had that time to sort of fit into the Moroccan culture. It definitely was a lot harder because I didn't know any Arabic, especially French. It would have been super handy to know French, but because it's 2024, English is just everywhere, and you can still get around with just English, which is crazy and insane, and I still can't believe that. And after the first week of being in Tangier, I quickly became accustomed to a lot of people coming up to you, for instance, especially as I just stood out completely there. So always had people coming up to me, especially when I had a camera as well. It makes you more of a target, but sometimes it's in a good way too. And the main thing I would get come up to really was for hashish. In Tangier, it is very popular there in Chefchaouen, which we'll talk about very soon. So I would get asked like 10 times a day about hashish and if I wanted some. So if you do go to Tangier, do expect that to happen to you, especially I think for males as well. It's very common. I was an easy target. So one night I was just cooking food at my Airbnb, and then someone comes in, and people came in here and there because it was a shared Airbnb. So this guy comes in, and he's the Airbnb's host's brother, And then he comes in and he's like, oh, I'm just here to grab my hashi. And I'm just like, huh? And he's like, yeah, just here to grab it. So he went to the cupboard, went and grabbed his hashish. And then I was like, are you staying here? You living here? He's like, no, just like coming here and smoking my hashi. And I'm just like, cool. Like, you do you. I wasn't too bothered, but... So during my time in Tangier, I also went to Chefchaouen for a day trip, and my boy, this is like a sick city to go to. Like, I didn't have a clue this city existed, and then everyone was just like, you have to go to Chefchaouen, you have to go to Chefchaouen. If you haven't heard of it, Chefchaouen's like the blue city of the world almost. I haven't seen a city quite like it before. This trip I just booked a tour for it, so I just was shown around the whole of Chefchaouen in a group tour, and this city was full of just like the most welcoming people that I met. Again, got asked for hashish everywhere, but I was used to it then. Great foods are there, some really good chicken tagine. If you go to Morocco, you have to have the tagine. But if you go into Morocco, definitely go to Chefchaouen. I highly recommend it, especially if it's just for a day trip. It's a very small city, so you'll get a lot out in a day. And so after 3 weeks being in Tangier and getting used to the culture of Morocco and getting accustomed to the people there, I was now time to move on to my next destination. And now it was to the capital of Morocco, which I didn't realise was Rabat before coming. And then after realising, I thought may as well go through because it's along the coast with all the cities there. And we did a 10-day stay in Rabat actually. Booked a nice Airbnb there, worked out of there, it was awesome. I did get a bit sick during my time, on and off, but when you travel a lot, you definitely got to get used to getting sick here and there. It does happen a lot, especially new cultures, you're eating new food. It does happen, you got to get used to it, which sucks. Rabat is a super clean city. It is quite modern as well. There's a very nice tram that goes through the city, so transport was very nice, very easy. And Rabat itself is, I wouldn't say it's anything too special, but I was only there for 10 days. But it is a super clean, super friendly, nice, loving city. And the mosque there is awesome. Definitely go to the Hussein. It is really cool. It's definitely the most modern city, I would say, in Morocco, which makes sense because they've put in a lot of effort into it to make it clean, as it is the capital of Morocco, so they want that to stand out. And I had a great experience there with people-wise. I don't think I even got hassled to buy anything at all. People were just really nice, genuine, normal, everyday people pretty much. I would recommend going to Rabat. I wouldn't stay there for 10 days though. For me, unless you are like working, for me it wasn't an issue as I was pretty focused on work, so it was work and then when I had free time, go out and explore. But it's a lot smaller than you would think, so you can get through the city quite quickly.
Hello, where are you from?
Australia, man. Quick pit stop in Rabat, we then moved on to Casablanca. And so Casablanca, I could only stay 7 days in Casablanca from memory. I think it might have been 8 actually. I did stay an extra day because I was in and out of like sickness between there and Rabat, recovering, and then I was still going out, exploring, working, putting myself through it. But I still love that. But in Casablanca, here's where things kind of changed for me. I kind of got a lot more into photography, videography, started posting a lot more, got into trying to get out there. As we move into 2024, I feel very strongly on building in public and just putting it out there for the world. Like, it's a big city. Casablanca is like the working capital of Africa almost. It's a very modern, big city especially for Morocco. very busy, a lot of people in Casablanca for sure. But other than that, Casablanca is full of just like very passionate people. It's a very passionate place where people very love their city, and that's their city. And it was awesome to be a part. I probably had the best experience, I'd say, with people-wise in Morocco, in Casablanca, because just people just treated me as is, and that was it. I don't think I was sold anything either there, or try to be scammed of or anything. So it was just an awesome experience. People were really genuine in Casablanca. Even had one person get a picture with me, which was the first time that happened to me. That's a bit of a weird experience as well, but it's all fun and games at the end of the day. But the one thing you probably have seen in Casablanca is the mosque there, because it is insane. I think is it the biggest mosque in the world? I'm not too sure, but it is huge, massive, and just like into Casablanca. Like, if you don't see this, did you really go to Casablanca? And from Casablanca, that leads us on to Marrakesh, which was just one hell of just a crazy experience, I would say. Just exhaustion in a way. I think initially I spent like 3 or 4 days in Marrakesh, and then I went to the desert and came back to Marrakesh. But for the first 3 days in Marrakesh, I remember booking an Airbnb there. I get to my Airbnb, they give me a different room than what I booked. They gave me this room in the corner, complete darkness. I tried using the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. So instantly I'm just like, I can't work out or anything out of here. And I would have had to work out of, I think then I was going to work out of Starbucks, which was an hour walk, I think. So I was like, I don't want to stay here, and I don't really want to pay for a taxi every day and then negotiate taxi fares as well. So I know in Marrakesh it's very hard to get negotiating wise in taxis. So I immediately try to cancel my booking and then look for a hotel, which I managed to get a hotel for each night and got some good last minute deals. If you're trying to do it like a budget, if you do it on the night looking for a hotel, usually you'll find a pretty good deal for something quite nice. But I was then sort of blackmailed by my Airbnb host. Because originally they agreed, they're like, okay, yeah, you can go book something else and then cancel. And so I did, and then told them to cancel, and they said, we're not going to cancel and refund you unless you don't give us a review, for instance. And they were like saying this non-stop, and I was just like, you're blackmailing me. But so eventually I was just like, yeah, I won't give you a bad review, even though here might be a bad review, but it is what it is. Like, I didn't like the place. I needed to go somewhere else, and eventually that happened, thank God. So then I did 2 or 3 different hotel stays for every single night. For the first 3 nights I was in Marrakesh, so it was just constant move to a coffee shop, work every day, and then go and explore Marrakesh, which is just exhausting because it's so just full of everything. But it was also like funny. I think one night, I think I was getting home late or something. It was like midnight. Very common in Marrakesh, you'll have someone try and take you home. For instance, so I had a guy try and take me home, said he knew my hotel was over here, for instance. I was just like, no, didn't tell him where my hotel was. Keeps walking with me. Then he asked for my name, I think a couple of times. Forgets my name, for instance. But yeah, that was fine. And then eventually I'm just like, I'm going. Then he shakes my hand. I'm just like, oh, fine. Pulls me in. Says, have we got a problem? All this crap. I'm just like, do we have got a problem, man? Like, what's going on? And then he went away after he realized I wasn't going to give him anything. But if you're in Marrakesh, be prepared for that to happen. Just realize you don't have to give people money. They're going to ask you and demand for money, but you don't have to give them money. Don't make that sort of aggression make you feel like you have to. It's just what I got used to is just like a tactic to try and scare you to get money. But if you are going to Marrakesh, do be prepared for this to happen. general tips, you don't have to give people money. I think one time I was just filming, and then you would have dancers, they'll come into your camera view and then dance in front of it even though you weren't maybe initially filming them, and then they'll demand money off you. Don't feel like you have to give them money. If you want to, go ahead, why not? But if you don't want to, you can say no. Like, at the end of the day, if they got into your camera view, for instance, like, that's the issue. You can say, I'll delete it, for instance, but I found out if you just say no to a lot of people, then they're fine. If it doesn't, like, warrant for you to pay, because it is common. Everyone's, especially in Marrakesh, a lot of people just are trying to get money. They need to make a living, so they're going to try all these tactics to get money. Just don't feel like you have to fork out all this money for nothing or pay this much for this. You really do have to negotiate in Marrakesh. And now it's very hard to get a good deal, especially as a tourist, because you got a lot of tourists that might come in for a holiday and then they pay 3 times what someone else can actually get to it. So now you're going to have a lot of people not selling things for at the actual price for tourists, because like with most things, you're going to have people that's going to buy that. So, but just do your best. Always negotiate. You're always going to get a way better deal. So be prepared. And so we left Agafay and I went back to Marrakesh for another 5 nights, I believe. And then this time, I think we spent every one of those nights in a different hotel too. I think I stayed in 7 different hotels around Marrakesh and 1 hostel. It was just staying all over the place. I probably stayed in every part of the Medina now, but it was still worth it. And during this time, I had a little bit more time to experience everything that Marrakesh has to offer. But Marrakesh is a city full of just absolute mayhem. It is chaotic, crazy, just absolute fun, just insane. It's just people everywhere in Marrakesh, tourists everywhere, bikes everywhere, people everywhere, and then just a very, how you perceive Morocco to be, the red buildings, very Moroccan, very cultured. It's just, yeah, you get almost everything out of this city except for like peace and quiet. I would say it's a very bustling, busy city. So, and I could now see why Marrakesh was like the tourist hub of Morocco, because you do get that experience. It's just in your face, boom, 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 which is crazy. It's like the, how I see it, it's like the Sydney of Australia, the London of the UK. It's that city that just everyone goes to like say they went to that country, for instance. But yeah, after spending some time in Marrakesh, I cannot wait to return. I think going back to Morocco, I'll definitely be returning to this city, just because one, it's just one of those cities that you have to go to and experience. And one thing I would say, just be careful in Marrakesh. Like, I didn't see there, but like, I won't be surprised if there's a lot of like deaths or very serious accidents that occur there, just especially on the weekends when you got the amount of people that come into the city, and the bikes there, they don't stop for the people. It's just go, 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 go. It was worse than Italy when I was in Italy. I thought Italy was bad, and Marrakesh is just like insane. You got to watch out, be extremely careful, like, because the bikers there, some of them don't even have a license as well. You can get a bike and just ride. Because I met some people and they're just like, yeah, you don't really need one. Like, I saw kids riding the bikes, the people on their phones riding the bikes. So it's what you get in Marrakesh, and that sort of was the first 3 days. And then we went to Agafay. Agafay is a desert, technically, I think, or is it technically not? I'm not too sure, because people told me it's not really a desert, and then it is a desert. But it's really just I would say the Instagram hotspots just outside Marrakesh. So it's only like half an hour outside Marrakesh. And I stayed in Salina, which is, if you don't know, it's well known for especially remote workers, digital nomads. They've got hotel chains around the world. A few in Europe, all over the States, a couple in Australia. And then they've got 2 in Morocco, which I both visited. So I stayed there. Still quite expensive, but I really wanted that desert sort of experience. And this is best thing I could do, especially while working remote, as you could work remotely at this place because they're designed for remote workers. So they've got office spaces, meeting rooms as well. So it was awesome to go there. During my time in Agafe, I got to ride quad bikes, ride some camels, experience the desert, go out searching in the desert, which is just cool. And I was in there around March, I think I was in there, and it was actually quite chilly. The nights were freezing too. And then there was quite a few very interesting nights. We had one night where I was staying there and met some like British blokes. We wanted to go searching for a camel at like 1 or 2 a.m. after having a few drinks, something very dumb, but like they're always fun stuff. So I went searching for a camel in the middle of the night in the desert, and then we come across this like camel farm. It's very close to the hotel we're staying at. So we go to the camels, we're around the camels, and then we have this guy come up to us from the tents. I think it was his camels, and we were like kind of like, oh god, what's going to happen now? And then the guy comes and invites us into his tent. So we go into his tent, and he's there with about three other Moroccan guys, and they invite us in to have some tea. So randomly at like 2 a.m. in the desert of Morocco, me and this British guy are in this tent just drinking tea with these local Moroccan guys, just trying to communicate for one. And two, it was just a really crazy experience, which was just insane. But after that, we ended up making sort of friends with them. We met some more people who could speak French, so we could somewhat communicate with them. And we ended up getting some good deals on doing quad bikes, for instance. So super handy. And yeah, you never know who you're going to meet. And then another weird thing was I was staying in the dorm rooms in this hotel. They had a big like tent full of like 20 beds, I would say. And so I was staying in there. The first couple of nights, it was me and a couple other guys. And then for the next like 3 or 4 nights, it was just me. So I was in this big tent full of 20 beds, and it was just me in it. And it was just really weird. And like, I even asked if I could get an upgrade because it was just me, and I got denied, of course. It was now time for a change of scenery, so we moved down to the coast, and we went to Agadir. We only went to Agadir for like one night, I believe, to start off with. One night in Agadir, and then we went down to Tamarot, and if you know Morocco, Tagazout, very famous spot for surfers and surfing. So we did a 10-night stay in Tamarot, I believe. And I think like the first 2 nights I was in Tamarot, I just like slept, just full on exhausted, and then just working out of it. If put it in perspective, Tamarot's like, I would say a 5-minute drive from Tagazout, or it's like a half an hour walk. But the walk's really good because you're walking down on the beach to it, so it's the same beach. So it's definitely worth doing, but that whole area is just beautiful. Just awesome. Awesome vibes, super chilled, great people, very international there. Especially Tagazout, you'll find people from everywhere. So getting around with English is super easy in that area. And it's one of those like small places that I've been to that I could probably go back and spend a few months there. Just really good living conditions, quite cheap really. Except for getting into the city and out. I only paid 10 dirhams because I met a local there and they helped me get like a cheaper taxi. So I only had to pay 10 dirhams to get to Tamarot, which is like a couple of euros, if that, to get back from Tamarot into Agadir. I think it was just me, so most of the taxi drivers try to like make me pay like, try to make me pay like 200 dirhams, I think. And I was just like, nah, it's not worth that. And then I think a couple of them I was like, that's a tourist price. And then they're like, yeah, you're a tourist. I'm just like, God, come on, man. But I ended up getting like a taxi for I think 50 dirhams and told them to share. So I think he made like over 200 dirhams on that taxi ride anyway from sharing it. So, but yeah, it's all well and good. What we mostly did in Temrot was really just chill out, went to the beach, we got some good weather. It just was the first week of Ramadan too, so most tourists would probably leave during Ramadan, and it was a lot quieter because a lot of things tend to shut down. It becomes a lot more quieter in Morocco during Ramadan. So it was super peaceful during the time, and then just chilling on the beach, great weather, and couldn't complain. So next time I visit, I am keen to go to Tagazord. And then from getting back into Agadir, then we had a flight out to catch, and we flew to Dakhla. Most people who go to Morocco probably don't go to Dakhla unless you are very into kite surfing and wind sports, as this is what the city is kind of known for. So I went to Dakhla, and then I stayed in Nova Selina, which is probably the main reason why I went to Dakhla, because I saw that this hotel chain was there, and I've liked staying there before. Very good working conditions there. But so I get to this hotel, I think I flew in, it was like late, I think it was late at night. This hotel's in the middle of absolute nowhere, so to like get there first off, I was like in the night just for that. So thanks Selena for that, I appreciate the rooms there, just were super cool. They're like these bungalows, so it was like very cool, right on the beach in the Sahara. It was, when you think of Sahara you don't think of the beach, right? But well, in the Sahara, on the coast, in the beach, and it was just a cool vibe. But it was like just me there. So like that night, I think I had dinner, and then I was trying to figure out how many people were there. Then there was like a couple of guests here and there, and I was staying at this place for 2 weeks because I booked a 2-week stay because they got an awesome co-working room. So I was just like gonna work and just chill there. And then so like the coming days, then I think like I met some more people, but most of them were just workers there, and it was literally like maybe 5 guests in total that were staying there. And this place was like one of the biggest resorts in Dakhla. There was like, I would say like 100 capacity, if that, not if that, probably more I would say, because the dorms they had, they were like 32 capacity, so like a big place. But this was during Ramadan too, so everything was closed. Like it was super quiet. I was wondering if it would pick up, but it was just pretty much just me. So it was the first time I've been at like a hotel where it's just been me. Dakhla itself is a cool city in the Sahara as well, Western Sahara. It's a interesting spot to go to. Met some cool people, went surfing, did some different activities there. The city itself is an interesting city to go to if you do go to Dakhla. Spend a bit of time there. Total, I don't think I'll go back to Dakhla again unless it was like something big happening in West Sahara, or if it's on the way for another trip going around the west side of Morocco, because I really want to do the iron train across Morocco. I've heard it's something to do, so when I go back to Morocco maybe we'll be doing that. So maybe we go past Dakhla, maybe, I don't know. And Dakhla was pretty much my final destination for Morocco. After this, then I went to Agadir for a couple more nights to get that city done, to Marrakesh for a few more nights, and then to wrap it up, my favourite cities were definitely Marrakesh and Tagazout. With a close coming up is Tangier/Chefchaouen. I want to put those together. In terms of staying like long term in Morocco, definitely would stay in Tagazout or Temrot. It's very accustomed to digital nomads in that space, and it's a lot more work friendlier there, opposed from Marrakesh, where I didn't get it's more of like a holiday place, I would say, but I would always want to go back there for like a few days because you can do so much in the place. But apart from that, like I still loved Casablanca, didn't mind Rabat or Dakhla, but next time I go to Morocco, I really want to go further into the desert. Hopefully I got more time where I don't have to work and can go visit the desert and like do some hardcore desert stuff. Agadir was like the touristy life of the desert, so I'm really keen to go to the actual desert and experience that. There's some really cool cities that I've seen that it's great to go to. Also, I didn't get to go to Fez, which I've heard is just awesome. But apart from that, Morocco was a very new experience for me in one, the people there, being into a place that I'm complete outcast to, except for probably Marrakesh, I would say. But Morocco taught me a lot just about living the life that they live in, especially during Ramadan times, because I spent the whole Ramadan in Morocco and I didn't have a clue that what Ramadan was, never heard of it before, and it was just an interesting time to be a part of, experiencing a new fresh culture, meeting tons of nice people as well. I still have people reaching out to me, messaging me, which I am super grateful for, just especially for like all the locals I met there that were just like super welcoming, offering me heaps of stuff which they did not have to do, especially without really knowing me. It was just an awesome experience. Just thank you to Morocco, the country, until next time I visit. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do support the channel, like and subscribe, get this thing off the ground, and let's just build the biggest community out there of travelers, workers, trying to create stuff. Let's connect. Let's go. Let's do it.